Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Missteps Book Club. We brought a dancer called Julie Andrew. She's still my co-host. I get it.
Number one book club.
Number one.
Oh, Hayden, I am so excited. I
Hmm.
am so excited. Well, not excited. I'm just so joyful
Yeah,
that this is our first book club.
I'm happy we're
We're
doing it.
going to start doing each week.
Yeah,
And the book that we're going to talk about this week is just amazing book. I love it.
yeah, me too.
I keep reading it. Um, it's really cool. So, Hayden, what's the book we're going to discuss tonight
The book we are
on our
discussing tonight is How to Get Out of Debt, Stay Out of Debt, and Live Prosperously. Now with this, by Gerald Mundis, I should add. With this book, I think you read the second edition, didn't you? Because I've read the third edition.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
I did. I
Yeah.
did, Hayden. Yeah.
So, yeah. And we'll be covering like the first half of the book-ish? Or, yeah? You want to jump?
Well, no, I'm just going to move and then I'm going to come back so I can get the book.
Okay. Until then, you get to see Dancing Me. Yes, I
um,
am doing the robot. Yes. Wow, that was interesting. Didn't see that one coming in a book club, did you?
I'm going to do something. We're going to do something really different on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We're usually having conversations with people, or we're usually interviewing people. So
Mm.
tonight, I'm going to interview Hayden about the book
Oh, okay.
and ask him questions.
Alright. And we're going to read some of the book as well.
And read some, yeah, read some of the book. Let
Mm.
me just get the book.
Uh,
And so first off, how like we both actually came up with the book. Like, I know we've been talking lately about doing a book club
yeah,
because we love reading books.
yeah.
I know for me, I love getting more information and knowledge. And I'm different. Like today, I really noticed, people's conversations. I really love having different conversations. I love about creating things. I love about creating businesses. I love creating. I really, I've lived my past. My
Mm-hmm.
past is my past.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really grateful what I've chosen in my past, the good or bad, whatever I've chosen it, right?
Yeah.
I've lived it. So for me, being so present in my life and starting to create for my future,
Mm.
because I'm in my early 40s, and there's so much, and my 40s is like I'm really joyful, and I'm really like got this energy of what's next.
Mm.
And it's like a bit surprise for me of what I'm going to create, because I know with us, we've talked about this. We've got lots of targets, and we've got lots of things that we would really love to create with Missteps, the brand, the TV show, and lots of things. And
Yeah.
we don't know how it's going to look like, what it's going to turn out like. We just know that we have a different possibility that most people don't look at.
Yeah.
And so I know, creation has been coming up for me. Instead of looking from the past is cool. And like I just said before, we've lived the past. I don't have to live it again. I don't have to recreate it again. I'm really desiring to create something I haven't created. So by these book clubs, what gets me really juicy and going is reading these different juicy and going.
Juicy and going.
We,
Put that on a shirt.
yeah, juicy and going. That could be one of our products. Let's make
Yeah,
t-shirts.
let's do that. That sounds awesome.
Yep. So what I would really love is read these books and read different books that inspires us, and hopefully, people, it inspires you. And we will probably read books from the history to look at what we can make a difference into what we're choosing now. So for me, that's really something that I want to look at different books,
Mm.
and we're gonna look at a whole range of books
Yeah.
about really about creating the future you desire.
Yeah.
So not everyone's going to really want to come on this show. The people that are really going to come on these shows are the ones that really desire to create and
Mm.
desire to have something more, or desire to have a greater, a more, or a most, or a different company. No, and look, it's not wrong with people wanting to help.
Mm.
I don't want to help people. I want to inspire people. You know, like for me, I know so much about myself. So for me, it's like I really do come across quite intense because it's about, guys, you do not have to give yourself away to someone else's point of view. And yes, there's some great teachers, but look for facilitators, look for informations that you could really assist in your life. Because there's one thing that I get, and this works for me, and it may not work for you guys, but hopefully it may,
Mm.
that I'm my own source. And everything around me contributes to me. That
And you.
I am my own source and I make my own choices. No one else's point of view, really, in a way, like it is information, and it like the going to that pragmatic point. If it works for me, I will, I'll be an allowance of it contributing. But no, it's really interesting. You know what I really got today? I am different. I do not fit into this reality. I do not. I am coming so much out of judgment. And I do not fit into this at all. And I am different. And
Mm.
I do know different possibilities.
Mm.
And I get that most people don't really want to know there is a different possibility and there's infinite possibility. So that's really cool. Guys, have that.
Mm.
That's really cool. And I am really not making people wrong. And if people think I'm making them wrong, go for it. What I'm saying is, I know there is you can create anything.
Yeah. You can be that
Anything.
source as well. Because it's
You can
literally
be
up to
that
you to
source.
choose it and create it. And because not going to get given it. You literally got to step up, receive it, be it, choose it. Yeah.
Choose it and create it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love, being your business partner and creating with you, and
Yeah.
and having this, because you're willing to have your awareness. You're willing to come into judgment,
Yeah.
positive or negative judgment.
Yeah.
You're willing to be an allowance of other people's point of view. And that's one thing I did play with a lot today. Being in allowance, not wanting or agreeing or resisting or reacting. But I was still like, I was in my own, like, creating, and, I did create a bit today.
Shh.
We did that, but I created really cool. So it's really about, again, what people can receive and hear,
Mm.
and what people, and it really showed me where people are functioning from,
Mm.
and not making them right or wrong, and not making me right and wrong. And I really want to get this out, because with these book clubs, you know, who really wants more in their lives? Jump on this book club. If you don't want more in your life, if you just, happy with your life the way it is,
Jump on as well.
yeah, you can jump, but
Jump on as well.
maybe it's, oh yeah,
Hey,
I reckon it's not for them.
I
No,
reckon it's
it's not
still for
for
them.
them.
They might still
It's
get
not
something
for
from
them.
it. They
It's not
still,
for them.
they might.
Not for them.
For them.
It's not for them. But if you want something different, it may not even be for you too. So that's the invitation. You choose.
Mm.
You're the source. That's what I'm saying. So no matter where you are in your life and living, you choose and be your own source.
I just
So
got,
let's start this book club.
yeah,
Well, we have.
I just got what you meant there as well. So,
No,
That was cool.
no. When
Yeah.
you go, no, then I'm going.
Yeah, I just
It's a
got the
choice.
yeah.
It's
Well,
really choice. So if people do want it or don't want it or do, they can choose it. They don't have to come on, and they may not want to come on, and they may want to come on. They may not want to come on or desire to come on.
yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And oh gosh. And funny, we picked this book for that as well. Getting out of debt. This doesn't bring anything up for anyone.
I know. I know. With me, there's a question that just the first off that jumped out at me. People being overwhelmed by your debt, and how many people are really overwhelmed in their debt.
Mm.
And I know I was. And,
Mm.
you know, like even this morning, Hayden, I was making myself still wrong about owing money, about still being in debt and making a problem. And when I had like the aha moment and went, well, what's underneath that? If I wasn't making that a problem, and if it wasn't like, if I didn't have that as a point of view,
Mm.
and is it even mine? That was the other question that I asked.
Yeah.
You know, what what would it be? Like, what would I be looking at with my debt? And I
Yeah.
got really excited because I went, okay, so what can I do? What can I change here about having? And I don't call it debt. I call it past expense. Well, I call it actually past investments.
Okay.
And for me, it's past investments that I have invested and then I haven't paid off.
Okay.
And so the difference with me now is that I've been really being present is when I actually make it wrong, that I haven't paid it off. And if I don't make it wrong, then paying it off, then I can go, okay, how can I change this? What is it? What can I do with it? Can
Yeah.
I change it? So we're talking about asking questions for awareness.
Yeah.
We're using ACTS as consciousness tools. And what I really noticed was I really got, I really got this awareness of, hey, Julie, everywhere that you're making it making it a problem, what if you could change it? So how many people that are in this reality are so overwhelmed
Mm.
about their debt because they're making it
Then
a problem.
yeah, they're
And it's
creating that
wrong.
problem.
Yeah.
So everything
So what
that
would
brings
you
up.
say about it?
Well, first off, I'm going to clear that. Everything that brings up, times a gazillion, destroy and uncreate all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pump, pop, matches, words, commands. But no one's ever watched us. We use the access clearing tools created by Gary Douglas and his co-founder Dane here. Yeah. What was the question again? Sorry. Oh, Dr. Dane here, of course. What was the
And
question
if
again?
you want to know a little bit about the clearing statement, you can go to www.theclearingstatement.com. And there's a video of Dane really talking about it and explaining it. It's amazing. And there is some PDF files that really explain it. Because it can sound like really, short. It is short speak.
Yeah.
And it can sound really weird to people.
Yeah.
The one thing that I really have found, Hayden, it works.
Mm.
I've said it, I've tried everything. And, for me to not really starting to come out of the wrongness
Mm.
and not making my debt a problem
Mm.
gives me that ease. It takes me out of that stress. It takes me out of that where I can go, okay, I can look at this now and I can be present with that without the judgment on it, without the charge. And I can look at it and go, okay, what can I do and be about this? Because when you're in judgment, you have this charge, you have the stress, you have the worry, you have all this coming up, you have the upset. But when you start, coming away from that as it being a problem and knowing it, and so for me it was like what it was for me it was like everywhere that I was making it so real and true, it was a problem. I was making it so vital, important, and real and true that it was a problem.
Mm.
And I went, what if I stop buying it as and making it vital and real and true? What if I just stop buying it as a problem? What else is possible?
It's beyond.
And what else with the debt or with the past investments I can,
Oh.
and to pay it off and be willing. And that was the other thing, is really having the energy of willing to pay it off. Because we get, when we're paying off a person,
Mm.
but we're actually really, when we pay it off, we actually are gifting back to the universe. When I heard this, and we'll go on to the book, because this is about debt.
Yeah.
Debting. When you are a debtor,
When you
a
are
lot
being
of
a
times
debtor.
you're not willing to pay back. You're refusing to pay back. And you have a limitation or a point of view that you are lacking and you don't have enough. When I know that I do have enough, and that's a point of view. So if you've got a point of view you are not enough in your life, in your living as yourself, then you're going to create that as if you don't have enough.
So everywhere that you've
So
created.
how many people? So
Every.
how many people, can we please this? How many people have this point of view that they aren't enough, they don't deserve, and they aren't enough? So everything that is times a gazillion.
We destroy an anchor.
Honest.
And everywhere that you've either bought the point of view or you've been implanted with the point of view that you're not worth it, that you're not worth being out of debt.
You're not enough.
Yeah.
It's actually you're not enough. Because how many people say, I haven't got enough money. There's not enough money to pay the bills. There's not enough money to go around. There's not enough money to do this, do that.
Yeah.
So the implanted and explanted points of views, like what you were saying, let's uncreate it.
Yeah.
Let's destroy it. Guys, do you want to let it go? Because I know I really have put a demand on, and I'm going to let it go.
Fuck yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Right and wrong.
Everything bad is times a gazillion.
Please destroy an ungraded door. Right, wrong, good, bad, pub, pog, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Awesome.
Cool. So, I was going to say, before we actually jump into the book, would we like to run a couple clearings on the actual book? Like, everything that this show is supposed to be. Destroy an ungraded door, all the expectations, judgments, projections, separations, whatever else, destroy an ungraded door. Right, wrong, good, bad, proper, unknown, she's supposed to be out. And all the projections, expectations, judgments, projections, separations on what you can receive, be, or know, or learn from this book, we destroy and uncreate all as well. Right and wrong, good and bad, pump up, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Cool. So, would you like to read an excerpt, or would you like me to read the first excerpt? Because I was going to do, what is debt?
Let's do what is debt. If you want to read that,
sure.
I'm very happy with that. That's
sure.
not my favourite. It's not my favourite. I love to ask questions. Yeah, it's not my favourite to read.
Okay. I asked the question, and that's what showed up first. And it was like, what is debt? Because how many people know what debt is? What is debt?
Yeah, what is debt?
Yeah.
So what does the book actually say, what is debt?
It says, I owe you. It's like, I'll pay you back later. Or, in its simplest definition, you are in debt when you owe some person or institution money. We need a refinement, though. For our purposes, a secured loan is not a debt, even though money has been loaned to you. The secured loan. To secure something is to make it safe. When you secure a loan, you free the lender from any risk of losing his money. That's why he's willing to lend it to you. He has no fear of loss. Your word, your good faith, even your unfailing history of repayment do not secure a loan. What happens if you have medical emergencies, lose your job, or simply go bonkers and run off to Brazil? If for any reason you just don't have the money to pay the loan back, the lender loses his money. That's what. Collateral, in its primary definition, is something that runs side by side with something else. In financial terms, collateral is property you pledge to the lender or actually give to him to hold during the course of the loan. That property is security. It's what makes the lender's money safe or secured. When you pay him back, he returns it to you. A loan from a pawn shop is a classic example. You bring your camera to the pawn shop, he loans you $150. When you pay him back the $150 plus interest, of course, he gives your camera back to you. If you don't repay him, he keeps your camera. You don't own your camera anymore, but you don't owe him $150 either. The loan is over. Fine, you say, but you're not interested in the hock shops and cameras. You're talking about big money, 10,000, 100,000 more, and then it goes into a bit more if you'd like me to continue.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is really interesting.
The numbers don't make any difference. A loan is a loan, whether it's 500, or 50,000, and collateral is collateral, whether it's a television set or a television station. One of the most common forms of secured loan is a mortgage. Let's say I'm buying a house for 200,000. I've saved 30,000, which I use for a down payment. The bank likes my job history, my salary, and my credit record. They have confidence in me, but that confidence alone isn't enough to persuade them to lend me the additional 170,000 I need. Not without strings attached, at least. Life's too unpredictable for that, so they require me to give them a mortgage on my house, a document that generally grants that all legal rights to it if it default, that is, if I fail to make my loan payments for a specified period of time, usually about 4 months. The bank then has the right to foreclose the mortgage, to take possession of my house in lieu of what I owe them, sell it, and keep the proceeds or the bulk of the proceeds for themselves, thus recuperating the $170,000. I have secured the loan by pledging my house as collateral. I have eliminated the risk that the bank will lose their money if they lend it to me. Car loans work the same way. I buy a new Chevy for $30,000. I put $70,000 on my own money down and borrow the balance $23,000 from I lost the page. Bank or from General Motors. To get the financing, I sign a document that gives the lender all rights and title to the car if I don't pay the loan back. If I default in either of the cases, I lose my house or my car. That would be painful, but I would not owe money anymore. I would not go into debt, provided I had made a large enough down payment. That is an important provision. Normally what happens in case of a house or a car walked away from, foreclosed upon, repossessed, or otherwise reclaimed by the lender, is that the lender sells off the property, deducts the amount received from the outstanding balance, and arrives at a new balance owed, the old one minus the proceeds of the sale. Let's say that Frank, who still owes $11,000 on his Honda, is moving to another state in a new job where, among other benefits, he will have use of a car. He's broke and under time pressure, so he turns the car over to the creditor, almost always a bank, and he says, "Here, it's all yours. The loan is over." But it's not. The bank now has Frank's car, the collateral for the loan, but the loan is still in effect. The bank, which is a business, not a social welfare agency. Everything that brings up times a gazillion of a bank being a social welfare agency. Will you just throw an uncredited? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop,
Right and
pop,
wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine short boys and beyond.
Wants to clear this loan quickly and with minimal effort, so it wholesales the whole Honda out, getting $6,000 for it. Frank still owes the creditor $5,000 of the loan and has all the legal obligations and liabilities that any debtor does. He is still as valuable to the creditor if he defaults as he is to any other creditor. The same scenario is true with a house, but their bank will usually have required a large enough down payment so that the house can be turned over for at least the amount still owed. Unless there has been a major decline in real estate market, as there was towards the end of the first decade of this century, at least historically banks did business this way, one hopes they will again go forward. The key then in these situations is to put enough money down on a car or a house so that you have sufficient equity in it. Then, should you need to liquidate it, you can do so for far less than the amount you still owe on it. One reason for the widespread pain that followed the housing collapse in 2007-2008 was the reckless lending by banks to unqualified borrowers that preceded it, along with equally reckless borrowing by buyers who put little or even no money down on their purchases. While there might have been a few someplace, I personally don't know or even know of anyone who practices this program who lost his or her house or who even ended up incurring new debt because of the collapse. Selling a car or house yourself and paying off the creditor is always better than turning it back to the creditor. Even if the creditor could liquidate it for the balance you still owe, this is for reasons relating to your credit history, which we'll discuss in a later chapter. A cash loan can also be secured. Of course, the collateral has to be worth at least as much, and usually more than the amount borrowed. No bank will accept $2,000 worth of stock certificates as collateral against a $10,000 loan, just as no pawnbroker will lend me $50 if I give him my big lighter to hold. These are examples of collateral often used to secure cash loans. Bearer bonds, stock certificates, home equity in the form of a second mortgage, parcels of land or other real estate, inventory, works of art, whole life insurance policies, precious metals, an owned franchise, copyrights, patents, a business. As anyone in debt knows very well, banks and financial institutions aren't the only place we can go to get a loan. We borrow from employers in the form of salary advances, from the government, from colleges and universities for educational loans, from business associates, from acquaintances and co-workers, from friends and relatives. The most frequent loan in America, because this is where it is, the one taken from a friend. Hey, can I let you have $10 till tomorrow? I need 30 till payday. Can you spare 500 till my commission check comes in? My broker check won't reach me for another week. Can you spot me 3,000 till then? Whew, everything that brings up. Times a godsend. Destroying uncredited all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pom pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Can we talk about that? Because that's really
Sure.
interesting. Like, you know, borrowing from your family, or having your family borrow from you, or a friend borrow from you, or you borrow from a friend. You know, I've heard Gary Douglas, who's the founder of Access Consciousness, is saying when you actually give someone money, always give it as a gift. Never have a point of view that you'll ever get it back. And then when they do give it back, you have no expectation. And so the energy, when you have the energy of expectation, and you were talking about, you know, projections and expectation. Hey, I give you this, you'll give me back.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's something about, you know, gifting money than actually what the book was talking about.
Yeah.
Is, you know, that's one of the biggest things, that people give money as a loan, or and I would say families, you know, I know my family.
I know my family's done it.
What?
My family's done it
Has
before.
your family done?
Yeah. Yeah. My family's done it as well.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And
so, you know, I've heard, and so, you know, so that's another way of loaning too. I've done it I've done it with my uncle, and it's been really interesting, you know, over the years that I've paid him back, and, you know, had, you know, yeah. So there's different ways to actually have a loan, or the way of to go into debt, or a loan. That's really interesting what the book was talking about, securing a loan to
yeah.
them borrowing money.
Yeah.
That was really like that. When I read that the first time, I went, wow. Because I know when I went for my mortgage for my car, you know, it was like, oh wow, that was at the time quite a lot of money. And, you know, having it over 5 years, and then having my own business of not knowing where the money is going to come in through the 5 years was really quite nerve-wracking for me. But now I've noticed too that each month when the payment comes in quite easy for me to actually pay off, because it's quite like the car for me is actually an investment for me to create more too.
It's an investment in
So
your life.
you know what I get about this book too? It's about getting out of debt, but it's really getting out of debt and start creating your living. Do you reckon? Like when you read the book, like it's really like, get out of debt. I'll show you some tools to get out of debt and start living. Start living for your future.
Yes, I would say that. Like, you might just look at it and it's like, get out of debt of money. It's getting out of debt of so much more. Like, it's getting out of debt of all the things you've never wished to do because of whatever reason. Like,
So it's
the
not
excuse
about
of
just
money.
getting out of debt of Now, it's not, so what you're saying, it's not about just getting out of debt
Yeah.
of past investments. It's really getting out of debt of things that you've resisted, you reacted, things that you didn't like, your emotions. Is that what you're saying, Hayden?
Yes.
I know.
I know.
I think we got a yeser.
I should get a button just for that.
That's priceless. You're not, nature's creating with us.
Could you repeat the question? That went over my head a bit.
I was saying, um, oh wow, even I forgot. Wow. So
Yeah.
we've cleared that. It's really cool. I've even lost it too. So let's keep going.
Well, you're in the recording. So,
Yeah.
what I was gonna say is like this is true though. Like one of the big places we do debt is literally with our family. Like, oh, just spot me. Can you help me out with my business? And instead of like, and then we expect that return, or we're indebted to that family member, or whatever, because we gave them. They've given us this large sum of money, and it actually talks about it here where we've they've it's like making them God.
So what are we talking about, the give and take reality here?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll give you this, but I'll take you back.
Yeah.
I'll take this back.
Yeah.
So, I know that's something, we talk about gifting and receiving.
Yeah.
And we talk about like contributing to each other. And gifting and receiving is a different way that when you give, you receive at the same time. And when you receive, you gift at the same time. But giving and taking in the debtor's reality, and what you're talking about, family, is like, I'll give you this, but I'll take it back.
Yeah.
And so, in this reality, they actually, buy as real and true. And it has, like, I'm not saying it has worked or hasn't worked, but for a long, long time, they've used it. What it says, use it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say for me it has worked, because I get when I am doing a giving and taking, it is like, if I give you this, then I will take something back from you, or
Yeah.
you need to give me something back.
Yeah.
And it's that, what we were talking about last night, it's the obligation energy is, if I do this, then you're obligated. And so a lot of the debting system, and guys, we're not saying this is wrong. What we're saying is, and we're not saying it's right, what we're saying is, let's be an allowance of it and see if there's a different possibility. Because if you are obligated to do this, you're in service, you have to be obligated. And if you don't get it, if you don't able to give it back, then that's where that debting energy just cycles in, and so, like, gifting someone and not having anything, not being attached to the outcome or the result of it, then anything else can show up. Different possibilities that you haven't even considered can turn up. So what else does the book say? What else?
It continues on to say, I'll go straight from where I was. The loan from family members is also common. Young couples setting up a household or buying their first house frequently borrow from their families. I bought my first house in 1971. Everything I'd saved went for that down payment and then closing costs. There were several other expenses involved in moving my family from a city apartment to a house in the mountains, so I borrowed $7,500 from my father. Houses, of course, aren't the only things for which we tap relatives. We borrow from them when when we're between jobs, for education, vacations, Christmas buying, furniture, medical expenses, big tax bills, births, marriages, divorces, to get over a hump, or when things are difficult in general. These loans are usually given on good faith alone, but occasionally they're secured too. There's even more latitude in finding collateral for a personal loan than there is for a commercial loan. Commercial lenders want collateral for which there is a ready market and a constant demand, which assures them that they can convert it to cash immediately if the borrower defaults. While friends or relatives might eventually prefer to do the same thing, they're usually satisfied with the collateral in the form of something they'd like to own or use themselves, such as a high-end SLR digital camera. As collateral on a 2,500 loan, I once offered a friend an antique ivory statue that he'd always admired. He didn't want collateral from me at all, but for my own reasons, which aren't relevant here but will be later, I was determined that the loan would be genuinely secured. He accepted my resolve, but still refused to remove the statue from my house. What we finally agreed on was this. I assigned to him my literary agent to become effective at his request, all income from one of my books up to the amount of 2,500. He's a novelist himself, and that assignment was satisfactory and pleasing to us both. The possibility for collateral on personal loans are nearly limitless. For example, you can use anything that could secure a commercial loan: a piece of jewelry, a fur coat, a work of art, a musical instrument, an antique, a laptop, coin collection, a set of encyclopedias, a sewing machine, luggage, furniture, camera, a snowmobile, a power tool, a rug. To sum it up, the secured loan is this: someone lends you money, you give him an article of equivalent or greater value to hold until you pay him back. Why secured loans, not debt? Can I ask a question first?
Yeah, go for it.
When he was talking about his friend and how his friend like he was working, was that the energy of deal and deliver, or was that a different energy? Because
Yeah, it was do and deliver.
yeah,
So, you want to talk a little bit about do and deliver?
I'd
This is
love to.
something that I really haven't talked about much, and I know we do, we deal, we do. Sorry,
We deal with
Kate
people.
and I do a lot of do and delivers.
Yes.
And so we don't do written agreements with being, business partners and all like that. We have like official documents.
Mm,
But the one thing we do a deal and deliver. And a deal and deliver is okay, so what's the deal? And what are you going to deliver for me?
mm,
And what am I going to deliver for you?
mm,
And it is more about awareness. It is about, again, it's about creation, what it's going to create. What is the deal going to create? What is the delivering? What are you going to deliver?
mm,
And what is that going to create? So yeah, that does definitely have the energy on it. And if people really don't know what deal and deliver is,
mm.
it's really about having your awareness what people will do for you, not what you think they're going to do for you. And that's something that it's really been quite huge. Not significant huge, but huge in unlocking of the awareness for me to look at it and go, wow, when someone's saying, I'm going to deliver this, and you going, well, I think this is what they're going to deliver, and it's not close what they're going to deliver. And when they deliver it, you get upset. Because you have in your mindset or in your mind eye that this is how they're going to do it. But it really was never, because did you ever ask them, well, what are you going to deliver for me?
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do? And look, I'll take that. It's not about what you're going to deliver for me. What are you able to deliver? What are you going to deliver?
Yeah.
So it's not about, yeah. So uncreating destroys values. Right and wrong, good and bad, pop and bottom, line short, boys and beyond.
And
So it's
everywhere
about
that's
questions that,
supposed to be confusing, destroy and uncreate it all as well. Right and wrong, good and
yeah,
bad, bump up, all
correct.
nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So it's really asking the person, what are you going to deliver? And so that you have an awareness of what they're going to deliver.
Yeah. Having
And
that
it's not what
clarity.
you think. Yep,
Yeah.
having clarity and being clear, and not having what you think they're going to deliver.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the deal. What's the deal? Being clear and having clarity on the deal.
Mm,
And then at the same time, it's not what you think the deal going to be, is what the deal is.
mm.
And so when you have that, I know with us, we are very clear. And that's why, we can add things so quickly on our businesses
Yeah.
and on our ventures and everything. Because we go, okay, do and deliver. And I find with do and deliver for us, and I'm using us as a really good example, is that when something gets really heavy or sticky or something, we go, okay, let's do another do and deliver right here. So what's the deal? What are you going to deliver, Hayden? Oh, Julie, what are you going to deliver? And it usually gets us around
Mm.
that stuckness energy.
Yeah.
Have you know? Well, for me, that's what it really does. What does it do for you with
It
the do
does.
and deliver thing?
It does. It gets rid of all this this preconception, and the projections, expectations, and you have this clarity of what someone is doing and what their job is, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look like you want to say a bit on that.
No, I like that
Yeah.
because I had a friend of mine, and we were. It started running away with all the things that we were doing,
Mm.
and she was doing for me, and then she said, "I just want to be clear." And in a way, we didn't do a do and deliver, but the energy was do and deliver. What can you deliver? Yeah, this is what I can deliver. Okay, this is right now. This is not what I'm designed to have.
Mm.
That's really cool. So then the deal changed, and then I was clear to say, okay, let's stop.
Mm.
So for me, it was really, do and delivers really like works for me. And I mean, I use it in my business with other people, and like we were just saying, we use it with each other. You can use, and this is something like he used it with his friend in the book.
Mm.
And so you can really use this not just in business. You could do this in relationships with your parents, with your partner, with anything. You can do it with when you're buying a car. Being clear, like asking when you're buying a car, what are they going to deliver? What's the deal here? Have your awareness. Have awareness. They may not be aware of what you're aware of. If you're really clear and have clarity with your do and delivers, it will create. It really has. I know with us, it's created a more and greater
Mm.
than I've ever even imagined.
Sorry about that. We were running out of space.
Are we running out of space?
We were running out of space on my computer. That's all. So sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying we're running out of space. You and me run out of space?
Nah, never.
That's just not in our reality. That's not in our
No.
world to run out of space.
Even
Okay,
yeah.
we'll keep going. You
Okay.
know, while we've got this, and what I really would like to turn this book club in for a while
Mm.
is really each week, really go through each chapter or go through what we're going through.
Yeah.
I really see this book really wants us to have these conversations for us because,
Mm.
guys, this is not just for you, this is for us too. By
Mm.
us having, like Hayden and I having these conversations, it's clearing stuff, it's actually getting us to look at where we're actually functioning from already.
Yeah.
And we function very different from most people. So I really would like to turn this into a series and still have it as the book club, but and turn it into until we finish the book
Yeah.
and do it like that, and then keep reading, bringing up stuff. Yeah, we're getting a yes again. And anyone, you're really welcome to join. It is free, so you can join in anytime. You can actually text us, write us, put questions in
Mm.
the Missteps TV show Facebook page,
Yeah.
email us,
Yeah.
contact us. We're easy to find.
Can I say this is really cool as well? Because we discussed this earlier, and we were like, we were actually looking at this idea, and we were like, but that would take like 6 months, and it was harder for us to do it this other way. And then now, like midway, we're like, oh, it's changed. All right, we're gonna do it this way because it'd like to be really in depth with what it's doing. Sorry, how cool is that?
And really, and that's what I'm really getting. What if we can be in depth,
Yeah,
in debt, in
in
debt,
in
in
depth,
depth, in
in depth.
depth, in depth in what we're doing, instead of in instead of in debt,
Yeah.
in depth. Can
Oh,
you read? There's one thing that's really popping for me is "You Are Not Alone."
you were not alone. Where
I
is?
don't know what. Hey, you are not alone.
Could you do the excerpt of it? You were not alone, because I do not
That's
see it.
actually the start. That's actually the first. That's not in a chapter. That's actually the start of the book.
I do not see
It
it.
goes back.
I do not see it. You may have to read it.
Oh no. Go right
Oh,
at
there we go.
right at the start of the book.
You were not alone. Discussion of personal
Yep.
finance, particularly indebtedness. That one?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. And then, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. Just, isn't it cool how like 40 minutes, 50 minutes have passed already with total ease?
I know.
Yeah, it's,
Everything is totally.
yeah. We're not indebted to time.
I like that. Indebted in time.
Yeah.
How many people? Yeah, so how many people are indebted in time? Would you like, yeah, so everyone like, yeah, like Hayden and
Mm,
even me, like everywhere we look at the time we're indebted. Well, you destroyed and uncreated all.
yes.
Wow.
Right and
Right and
wrong,
wrong, good and
good and
bad,
bad, fun and
God all
powerful,
nine short
manches, ways
boys and
and beyond.
beyond.
And everywhere you're indebting yourself to time as well. Like, that's when you look at the clock and you're like, I've got to do this job in X amount of time. Yep, everything that
Or
brings up.
I wake up in the morning and I say, oh, I've only got 10 minutes to go and I need to do this, 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 this,
Yep,
this.
yep,
So
yep.
indebted to time.
Mhm.
Yeah, so everything that is, time's got a billion. We destroyed and uncreated all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pop and pod, all nine, short boys and beyonds.
That's interesting. How cool is that?
Wow,
Ooh, there is more there.
that's
We could do an
awesome.
entire show on that. Wow.
Yeah, about being indebted to time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. Cool. That's pretty cool. We'll get one of our guests, our amazing guests. that many amazing guests that are going to be on our Missteps TV show.
Creating shows on
Let's
other
keep
shows.
going.
Discussion of
Let's
personal
keep going.
finance, particularly indebtedness, may be the last American taboo. Most of us shrink from it as we would from something obscene. Yet personal debt is, and has been for the past several decades, epidemic in America. More than 35 million Americans are overwhelmed by it at this moment, many only a paycheck or two ahead of catastrophe, and millions more are living in daily stress and discomfort because of it. In 1988, when this book was first published, personal bankruptcy stood at 600,000 cases a year. 15 years later, the number has risen to 1,200,000 a year. It continues to rise through 2005, plunged in 2006 when new laws took effect making bankruptcy harder to declare, then immediately began to climb again. At this writing, it stands at nearly 1,500,000 per year. Consumer debt was 700 billion back in 1988. In 2003, it was 1.6 trillion. Today, 2.5 trillion. While personal income has grown at about 5% a year over this, personal debt has grown by more than half again as much. Trouble with debt cuts across all social strata, from doctors and lawyers to carpenters and teachers, from psychologists and executives to house painters and firemen, from consultants, secretaries to stock clerks and stockbrokers. You are not alone in this. Some of us are earning well over 100,000 to 200,000 a year. Others are unemployed. Some owe tens and even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Others owe no more than $2,000 or $5,000. But debt is debt, no matter how much we earn or how much we owe, and sooner or later it can, and frequently does, poison our lives. What debt does to us.
Guys,
Yes.
yeah,
Go
yeah. I was just going to say is with me yawning. That's just all the unconsciousness.
You were
The
yawning.
awareness, the dance. Yeah, I was yawning. I was like, yeah, when you were reading this, it was like how much unconsciousness.
Mhm.
And yes, this book is written about Americans, but what about the whole world?
Yeah,
Yes, we're Australian, so we're from Australia. So,
that's
you're
home play.
talking about.
Go home.
Yeah.
Look up in your country how much debt there is. Like, look at everywhere you see debt.
That's really cool.
Because I know our country's in debt, and I know America's massively in debt. Oh, God. Destroying Uncreated, all that. Right and wrong, good and bad,
Yeah.
bump, online, short sways, and beyonds. And be aware of how many people around you are in debt as well, and how much they love to create their debt. And just looking at all that, you're not alone. And this goes into the number chapter we were talking about before, where it's literally just numbers. It's completely different for
Yeah.
everyone, but debt is still debt. Like, from the lowliest peasant to the highest king, still debt. So everything that brought up times God's in, destroying uncreated all. Everywhere that you've had the royal debt, will you destroy and uncreated all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and park, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Whew!
Wow.
What
So,
else?
can we do the last little bit? The next bit was what debt does to us.
Mm.
And so then we'll continue this next week.
Yeah.
And this is something to really ask the question, what does debt does to us? And everything that comes up on that, will you destroy it and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pot, all nine short boys and beyond. So you want to read this last paragraph.
Yeah. Eventually, we begin to juggle our money week to week and month to month, trying to stay on top of our bills and responsibilities. We walk a tightrope and live in apprehension of impending disaster, in fear that we're going to run out, that we won't have enough, that we'll be caught in a squeeze, that we'll be hauled into court. The fear exerts even more pressure on us. It begins to disrupt our lives and personal relationships. It sucks the joy and pleasure out of our days. The emotional and physical toll becomes enormous. In time, it exhausts us. We come to feel defeated and hopeless. We grow depressed. We live in anxiety and despair. We experience pain and perhaps even impulses towards suicide. Being in debt, regardless of the level of discomfort, is an unpleasant condition for anyone. It is also wholly unnecessary. Okay,
Wow.
let's clear that.
Everything that is times a godzillion when you destroy it and uncreate it all.
Yeah,
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine short
short
boys
space
and
and
beyond.
beyond.
Wow, this is something I'd really like to really finish on this.
Yeah,
You know, what is debt does to us? Because that really, like, how much of I know with the debt that I've had and still have, and how much I've locked that into my body, how much I've worried about it. Yeah, and like, you know, having that upset, having that stress of being hauled into court
mm,
and all like that,
mm,
and what that is creating
mm,
and creating into my body.
mm.
How there's, I feel like I'm going to be sick.
I feel like I'm gonna faint.
And so, you know, how much am I aware of other people
Yeah,
who've got that same energy
yeah,
that is just, it's like that energy of surviving, struggling. So everywhere you that you believe that you have to struggle, you have to struggle and survive, or you destroy it and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine short boys and beyonds. And everywhere that you've seen your generations, like your grandparents and the big depression and the wars and everything, the people really struggled and and survived. Will you destroy and uncreate it all?
yes.
Wow, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine short boys and beyond. And that you only had enough to live on.
No, you
Oh,
didn't even have enough to
wow.
live on.
Wow, yeah, didn't have enough. That you didn't, you know, you had to,
Yeah,
like what he's saying, you're juggling your money, you're
yeah,
stretching your money, you're putting your money.
yeah,
I mean, I have really, I've been looking at this and I've been more present of where I juggle my money and put my money here, there, and all like that.
mm,
Instead of really choosing and being so present of, okay, I have this money, what would I like to create with this money?
yeah,
And when we're talking about creating, is you know, I heard a lot of people say to me, oh, you know, you're spending, oh, you're ready to spend.
mm,
But for me, it is about creating the money that I have. I create with my money. And this is something that I've learned through Access Consciousness, listening, not living, listening to Gary Douglas. And he has a really different outlook of instead of spending your money and instead of struggling and surviving, what if you could thrive? And what if you could create with your money? With every choice that you choose with your money. It's such a different concept that this reality actually functions from spending and lack and always cutting everything down. So wow, that's a really good way to finish the call tonight.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And there's so
That
much more
was
to
an
go.
awesome talk. Wow, so we really, look, this is really cool for both of us, for Hayden and I. And I would say for me, but Hayden, you step in if I'm, being
This,
such a control freak. But I would say this is the way we're going to turn this into, we're going to go in and we're really going to we're going to talk about the book. We're going
yeah,
to read about the book. We're going to clear from the book.
we're gonna
We're going
get
to
to know the
ask
book.
questions. So yeah, we're going to get to know the book, and wow, when you said to get to know the book, we're actually going to apply the book. We're actually going to, like, for me, it's like, what if we could actually use this as a workbook too? So with actually going through and asking questions and clearing it, then what if we can actually apply a lot of these things?
Yeah.
And choose something different. So yeah, that's really cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, join us every Tuesday night at 7:30 Australian time and Brisbane time.
Yeah.
We're gonna market this more, and we're gonna let it out because now we can see where it's going.
Yeah.
Again, everyone, it's free, so you can join.
Yeah.
Join us.
And if you read the book, that'd be awesome
yeah,
as well.
read the book.
Send us
Oh, that'd
questions.
be awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
PM us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful, Hayden. So
Thank you.
grateful.
Thank you.
So grateful for doing this.
I'm grateful for
It's
you,
really
us,
cool.
for you to show up as well for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and both of us being able to show up for it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we've got plenty to go. Don't think that we're just doing this for 2 weeks, because we got plenty. Like, it covers all these places we debt, like all the people we fall into when we're debting, because that's like an entire chapter where it's just like, here's all the people of debtors, and there's actual ways to get out of debt, and all that.
I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward, really getting to know the book and really exploring the book. And like I say, my favorite word, my favorite energy, not my favorite word, my favorite energy is creation and creating.
Yeah.
So like creating with the book too. So yeah, everyone. Thanks, Hayden. We'll see you next week at 7:30 Brisbane time on
A
Tuesday night.
AEST. So, oh yeah, like, comment,
Bye.
subscribe, check out our Twitter, all our other stuff, and until next time, enjoy!
And we just like waving our hands.
Like the Queen, darling,
Bye.
like the Queen.